Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a 2-cup of coffee morning. Deuce. First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
It ain't Mississippi, but it's 2 below out here for real, for real. And I don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
Too cold. It's also got to be in my old head rhymes too. Too hot, too cold to hold.
Hey,
Sucker MCs to get real bold. 50 years of hip hop.
Man, celebration.
It's a celebration. Where's your couch? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Friday, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of need that Friday right now too. 24th of February. It's almost March
already.
It don't feel like it. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, all of you. Appreciate y'all coming on in this early morning. It's cold, buddy. It's cold. I don't know how cold it is there.
It snowed and then melted and then froze and then rained and then froze.
Now it's just cold. Now it's cold. When I got up this morning, I thought it was Mississippi. It was 2 below. But now it's 1. Now we 1 degree. 1 degree right now in Omaha, Nebraska. So good morning to all y'all that ain't here. Good Friday morning, First Sky fam. It's always a great day when you are seen instead of viewed. I heard that, Pops.
Yeah, man.
Good morning to you. How's the weather out there in Vegas? I did hear that California is about to get snow in the upper elevations.
Really?
Yeah, dude. So I was like, I can't even go out to Cali right now. It's freezing out there. Leia Keisha says, Happy Friday, yay.
Yay.
Brianna Full said, it's cold for real. It's cold. It's cold, bro. Wind chill factor of like 14 below right now. It's coming all through the cracks of the house. It's just cold. So, yep. Went to bed in a 3-piece suit last night. It's just cold. Brianna Full says, Happy Friday to y'all. Thanks for joining us over there on YouTube. We don't have any Facebook people coming in quite yet. I wonder if it's working. We'll see if it's working. You know how Facebook be doing sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes.
How you doing over there, man? Is it how's you said the move has been postponed now, huh?
Yeah, it's a headache, man, but not as big a headache as it could have been. I'll say that. You know what I mean? There was a gas leak at the property, and luckily we weren't there viewing or trying to move in when it was found. So we're gonna have to wait a couple days for them to clear that up and clean it up, make sure the property is safe. So it's a little inconvenient, a little frustrating. Definitely when you take into consideration that I had already paid for the U-Haul when I got the call.
Ooh.
I had already, I had people taking off work to help move and stuff. I'm like, yo, y'all could have told me, the day you found out.
That's cold blooded.
Yeah. It was kind of, very inconvenient, but hopefully we get some reimbursement for that U-Haul and things like that.
Think so?
Hopefully, because they could have communicated that a lot sooner.
This is true. This is very, very true. Yeah, you're right. But I'm just happy that y'all weren't over there sucking up that gas.
Yeah.
that would have been the real thing there. So
I don't know
yeah.
if you remember a couple years ago by Benson Park, there was a house that exploded from that same type of situation. I was actually right around the corner from my grandma's house. And I, was able to go through the neighborhood and see the damage. Like it's the house, like first of all, the house, if y'all remember a couple years ago, I think this was like 56th and Grand or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a tenant went to go like turn the key to go into the house, and I guess the gas leak
Mm-hmm.
was so bad that the spark, created an explosion, and that house was gone. The houses next to it had severe damage. I mean, it can be pretty bad, when dealing with a gas leak. So looking
Yeah.
at the bright side, it could have been a
Yeah.
lot worse.
Good thing they caught it. That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So, still looking forward to being able to move in. Just waiting. Thinking about, I don't know, doing something with the kids this weekend. I don't know. Try to. That's always anytime I'm having some trouble. Anytime I'm stressed out. Going to the park or doing something with the littles. Kind of eases things.
yeah, that's what's up, man. I'm glad you find solace in that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta love the
that's what's up.
babies.
Well, that's what's up, man. I appreciate that. So you live from the void right now until further
Still.
notice. Yep.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on in the midst of all this moving around. I know you had to dig out the microphone and stuff out of boxes this
Oh yeah,
morning.
yeah. I packed everything up thinking I would be able to move, and had to unpack and find some stuff and look in some corners, and I hid some stuff from myself. But we doing the thing, and we definitely appreciate everybody tuning in with us, all the chat chimers, all the ghost listeners. We do it for you.
That's right, man. Shout out to Buddi3 Da Gawd for coming on through, and even though
Hey,
it's what it is, man. I come through even though. So
man, gotta make it happen. How
Pop
you
says,
doing?
man, I'm cold. I'm cold. It's cold. Told you. I went to bed in 3-piece suit and overcoat last night. It's cold. Hat,
Mm.
everything.
You just gonna get another article of clothing every time you say it.
Pop says, believe it or not, Vegas got snow one day last week. Today it'll be a high of 54, low of 35. What is going on in the world?
That's close to freezing.
Bro, we gonna have to move to Africa? I mean,
Man.
what's really
Well,
going on?
I did hear it does get pretty cold in the desert in the winter.
Yeah, but
Oh, just at night, actually, not in the winter, but at night, I heard it gets pretty cold out there.
yeah, but you ain't heard about it snowing in California like
No,
it is,
no.
like it's going to today. So I
Mm.
don't know. I don't know. We still from the 80s still talking about it never rains in Southern California. Now we can't even say it don't snow in California.
Yeah, that has changed. That has changed. Global warming, man, it's a real thing. It's a real
Yeah,
thing.
guess so.
Or is
Swung
it?
us out of sync or something, man. Because
Man, out of whack.
yeah.
Everything's out of whack.
Speaking of out of whack, I'm tired, boss. But it's Friday, February 24th, 2023. Another fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
We're anticipating the brothers, Senators Justin Wayne and Terrell McKinney, put some respect on their names. Talk
Yes,
a little bit
yes.
about the legislative report, what's going on as far as the bills and stuff are concerned. A lot of bills in the news this morning. A lot of stuff in the news this morning, actually.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised about some of the things that you guys have been sending me over there on Friends of First Sky Omaha and in my inbox too. Everybody was very surprised about this national article about how Omaha is going to be the model for
Let's talk about it.
stopping gun violence.
Let's talk about it.
The model for the country. Okay.
Is that Omaha? Are you seeing that? Let us
Man,
know.
I don't know if you guys, I'm going to talk to the ones who haven't seen that article, but yeah, the Empowerment Network's in the national news in this past week, yesterday.
ABC.
Yeah. And apparently Omaha is they're looking at Omaha as the model of how to reduce gun violence in your city. So, of course we got the gun violence is within stats. You got to look at the stats and see how much gun violence has gone down compared to what it was before. I know that a few years ago, I guess 4 or 5 years ago now, there was a big article about how it was the worst place for a black man to be, a black boy to grow up. And they were the city was very, very embarrassed about that article. They were saying they got to do something about this gun violence in the homicide rate and everything else. And they did a whole bunch of cracking down. I don't know how that worked. I'm learning more and more about the Empowerment Network, what their efforts were. Their 360 thing that happens every week. actually, I forgot that the 360 meetings is another meeting that they're talking to the community and actually putting some action points out and stuff like that. So that's one more entity out here that's doing similar things as that we are, and they've been doing it for years. So has it made a difference? Definitely lots to talk about when it comes to those things. So and our chat chimers have never been biting their tongue about organizations out here in North Omaha, the leadership organizations out here, and what it is they're doing and not doing. So I'm sure it'll be a lively conversation. Tell a friend, tell a friend. I see everybody on YouTube over here. I appreciate that. Like and subscribe. If you're on Facebook and just being quiet, do us a favor and let us know that you're there, so we know that Facebook is working.
Yeah.
And then also spread share the show on your page if you would. Other than that, man, like I said, lots of stuff to talk about today. I guess we can get into it.
Yeah, beyond that, as far as the Empowerment Network, we will be looking at that situation and kind of asking, do numbers lie? That's really the question, or can you look at the data and get the full picture of what's going on, if you will? So definitely going to look into that. Also, speaking of getting the full picture, we're definitely going to continue to try to get down to the bottom of what's going on in our education. There's a lot of bills, a lot of conversation, a lot of debates happening in our education, in the education field, the education industry in Nebraska. And one of the conversation that has been going on for quite some time now, actually several years, is the ability of teachers to use physical restraint on students. And there's a movement to oppose. LB 811 is the name of the bill. We'll talk about that. And also, if you're in opposition to that, an opportunity to voice that opposition. So again, we'll definitely dive into that. Also, another bill that we'll be looking at, big shout out to Senator McKinney. Put some respect on his name. We'll be speaking to him today. Hopefully get some insight on this Malcolm X holiday. Again, on Wednesday, big shout out to any of you who went out to Lincoln to testify on behalf of this bill. Again, Senator McKinney introduced LB 53, which is proposed to make a Malcolm X Day observed on May 19th, which is, I believe, Malcolm's birthday. So again, big shout out to brother Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name. Brother Senator Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name. And then also, speaking of Malcolm X, the family has made headlines announcing that they will launch a lawsuit against the CIA, FBI, and the NYPD for the wrongful death of their beloved father, El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, aka Malcolm X. So there's definitely landmark news. We'll dive into that and also look at some things going on with LB 1024, continuing to follow the money here in this season 5. As always, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard. If there's anything on your hearts, your minds that you feel like we should also be talking about, feel free to drop that into the chat. Let us know if you have some links or some information. We'll like that as well. But in the meantime, in between time, until we have the brother senators on, let's go ahead and get the show started.
Yeah,
Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, let's go.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B. Buddi3 Da Gawd is dipping out to grab something real quick. He'll be right back. But thanks for joining us, all the chat chimers, all the ghost listeners. Tess Patricia says good morning from Facebook. Thanks for letting us know that Facebook is working over there. Usually get a bunch of Facebook friends coming in first, but this time YouTube friends is beating you guys to the punch. So I appreciate everybody that's on Facebook. Do us a favor, share the show. Also share the show if you're over there on YouTube as well. And I want to take this moment also to give a little shout out to our radio listeners over on the Listen channel, First Sky Omaha Radio. Appreciate you guys, all the 6:30 crew. Let us know how the mix was, if you were feeling the mix this morning. And if you're listening to us over there, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. We want to get as many people in the conversation as we possibly can. It is Friday, February 24th, 2023, and it's cold, cold, cold outside in Omaha, Nebraska. Cold, cold, cold. That's all I know. Last I heard, it was like 1 degree, and I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it. Definitely times like this, I'm like, I got to get back out west. Then I looked at what was going on out west.
It's not
It's
gonna
supposed to be
save you.
snowing in California, bro.
It's not gonna save you.
It's not gonna save me this time. I had to move to Africa or something just to get some sun. I don't know what's going on. Don't make no sense. Hot, cold mess. It's a cold mess.
Yeah, pretty much. So definitely take care of yourselves, man. Check on your loved one, beast of the field, elderly.
This is they also warned against, they're saying when it gets this cold and there's a wind chill, because there's a wind chill of like 14 below as well. When the wind is whipping and it's this cold, it does stuff to the power lines. A lot of people have lost power in Iowa. Some people lost power in other states. So that's another thing we got to look out for here. Like, get ready for that. Get your blankets ready. Get your couch broke up to set on fire. Whatever you got to do.
Not that bad. Not that bad. But yeah, generators.
And check on loved ones. I had to help my sister out. She was slipping and sliding the night before because of the ice. Had to leave the car somewhere. So, I mean, yeah, it was treacherous, and the roads got better, but yeah, it's still cold. It's supposed to remain cold for a minute. I'm not really inclined to keep on talking about how cold it is, except for it's cold.
Yeah, I mean, hey, there you go. That's the update. That's the update. But if you don't have to go anywhere, please don't. Please don't. I definitely heard news of a family member back in Omaha. I think had like 2 accidents in the last like 48 hours.
Yeah, it was ugly out there. The streets were all iced.
Man. Yeah. Stay off those roads if you can. Yeah, man. Just be safe, and it shall pass.
Yep. Let us know how you're doing. What's on your mind? Thanks for everybody that is dropping items in Friends of First Sky Omaha. You guys make it very entertaining. Every time I go check out the page in the morning, I'm like, man, lots of conversation, lots of things being said and being thrown out there on Friends of First Sky Omaha that you guys want us to talk about when we get live, and it always makes me anxious, and like it always makes me like look forward to I can't wait to hear what they got to say about this. So there's a few things like that in the news today. I appreciate it. Ariel's 402 says, I don't want to go outside in the cold. Yeah, man. Yeah. Marianne Williams says, good morning. It's cold today, but up in the 50s here in Lincoln tomorrow and next several days. Say what?
Might have to take a little trip.
No, I've been here too long, and 50 degrees sound like summertime now.
Gotta take a trip.
You walk around in shorts and flip-flops until this weekend. We'll see what's happening. I was telling Marianne Williams, I was telling them that it was so cold last night. I went to bed in a 3-piece suit and a hat and an overcoat and a scarf.
Some gloves, mittens.
Yeah, man. So anyway, yeah, I just get worried. I start calling everybody. Y'all all right? Your heat working still? Yeah.
No, that's a real thing, man. Like the ice gets piled up.
Yeah,
and that too. Yeah. Actually, that was a big issue down here a couple months ago as far as when the temperatures drop. Pipes burst left and right, and a lot of pipes weren't, just prepared for those types of conditions. So yeah, make sure you at least letting the water drip a little drizzle if you can, leaving your faucets on just a little bit so you don't have any
little faucet incontinence. Just
have any freezing pipes, which can cause even more problems, like no bathroom or yeah. Last thing you want is no heat, no electricity, no water. Being stuck.
If I lose all that stuff, I got one thing to lean on. That's my car. I'm getting in it. I'm driving. Until I'll get some sun.
Well, if the roads is icy, you know how far you gonna get,
man. That part.
Yeah, so definitely be careful, y'all. Check on your loved ones.
Yep. Let's go ahead and jump into it before the brother senators get on. It's 7:19 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, buddy, what's in the agenda today?
Man, well, I usually try to start with something that doesn't really have any, but all of these have something to do with the Senators, and it would be nice to talk to them about all of it because they're putting in so much work. But we'll start with LB 1024, looking at, again, continuing our conversation that we kind of had from Wednesday, looking at how's the South Omaha area, how are the leaders in South Omaha, what is South Omaha looking at as far as LB 1024, what are some of the needs, how are they addressing some of their needs, and what are the plans for the funds from LB 1024. And apparently there are some people who has some issues or have a few gripes or at least concerns about these funds. Canopy South, which is again one of the organizations that we mentioned, is in partnership with the Department of Economic Development, and also among a dozen organizations serving South Omaha that have called a media event yesterday, Wednesday now, to announce their united front behind 335, the $335 million Economic Recovery Act, which was passed, again, LB 1024 last year. The distribution of the $225 million in grants, largely from ARPA funds, is a key component of LB 1024. That's where a portion of the funds are coming from. And then also Olson, which was the organization that was paid to consult on this bill, was contracted for $1.7 million to guide the vetting and selection process. Of course, after weeks of public hearings, and we've kind of been having the conversations here, some of the winners were coalitions that represented several groups, which is something that we've kind of been talking about behind the scenes, and also trying to get a better grasp on ourselves as we look more into this bill as far as who is getting what. And a lot of the organizations are new because they are several organizations coming together to do something as far as getting these funds and to get this bill. The grants come with the mandate that ARPA dollars be spent by 2026. And Garcia, who is with Canopy South, says that some in South Omaha have heard that state lawmakers are not clear or in agreement on how to handle the Olson recommendations, again, which is causing some of this confusion and some of this concern. He said his concerns personally are heightened after reaching out to the consultant for some information and being told that Olson's job was completed. Senator McKinney, according to this article, downplayed concerns, saying that Olson's team should be available for questions from the special legislative committee, but that otherwise the team had completed its work. A spokesman for the Olson Group was unavailable for comment. Combined with grants recommended for various South Omaha projects, there is a total of about $100 million, again, for South Omaha projects specifically. Olson also says that the recommended slate was based on the project's promise of long-lasting economic growth. So again, more concern, more questions about how this is being handled, not just as you see in North Omaha and those from North Omaha, but also leaders and organizations in South Omaha as well.
That's something that stuck out to me. We've been talking to leaders and stuff in North Omaha, and really trying to assist the senators in communicating things out to people and organizations that applied that were upset. And I forgot I didn't really think too much about whether or not leaders on the South Side were feeling the same way or going through the same thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, and there's a lot more to take away from this article too. I didn't realize that Olson was not really going to be available for questions in contact either. It seems like they're like the job was done. I kind of put myself in their shoes for a minute. If I was the organization that had to make all these recommendations, I'd probably be trying to leave town after I made them, because some people are going to be mad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
If you've taken on that responsibility to make a recommendation, and then major there's entities in North and South Omaha that feel their recommendation was wrong or unfair or needs to be revamped or rethought or whatever. How far down the way do you go there? So even though Brother McKinney said that they were available for comment, it doesn't seem like they're trying to make any comments here.
Mm-hmm.
And we've never.
You had kind of mentioned that we had spoke to, I want to say Cameron Snipes. We had spoke to someone, and they had mentioned that Olson was, I think it was Cameron Snipes. She had asked if Olson could come to speak to some of the neighborhood alliance. And you're like, I didn't know Olson was doing that, and you could set that up. And I guess now that the recommendations have been made, that's over.
Right. Yeah, I mean, now that I think about it, the last contact that we had was when they were having those initial meetings and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing since then, and certainly nothing after the recommendations have been made. So now I'm really understanding too, like what the senators have been going through. They probably be, they if Olsen ain't taking no calls, you know, Wayne and McKinney are taking all the calls here, and who else would you call? Like there's not really anything in place to say if I got questions about these things, who do I talk to? I think maybe they were anticipating that Olsen would be able to answer some questions, but it don't sound like they really. And I kind of don't blame them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, after that big controversial, after you did something like that, I don't know how much you want to set up the ability to be contacted and questioned
Yeah, you're
about your
gonna
decisions.
have to do a lot of explaining. You have to you setting yourself up for a lot of explaining on a process that you've already taken the time to build like I'm sure they took the time to have a rubric, to have criteria, to have a thought process and reasoning why they're grading and choosing the organizations, because Olsen don't really know any of these people personally. I'm sure the workers from Olsen don't know Willie. I mean, maybe they do, but the majority of the people that's giving proposals, I'm sure they don't know them personally. Which
From what I remember, there were in town entities that collaborated with out of town entities, and that's what made up Olsen. So I think there may have been some people that were in town. Vaughn Chapman in the chat. Good morning on Facebook. He's over here. He says, "Call Willie B. Call Willie Barney." I'm not sure if they. I know that Willie Barney and the Empowerment Network asked for funds. I'm not sure if they were part of that Olsen group that made those. I don't think they made those decisions because I think they were one
yeah.
of the ones that were asking for funds. But yeah, it's a good one. I have actually been talking to Willie Barney this past week, and trying to get some answers on some things. He actually agreed to come on the show here pretty soon as well and talk about some of them. But I definitely think that there's entities out there that ask for funds that didn't receive all the funds that they asked for, or I mean not received, but didn't get recommended for all the funds that they asked for. I know that there's a lot of groups that are trying to talk to the senators about revamping their applications, or is there anything that can be done within 1024? Because there's still so many steps left. It's not just
Right,
Olson
right.
and the recommendation. It has to go to the senators. It has to get signed off by the governor. There's so many other steps on these things that is there anything? I think what they're asking now is like anything could be done now that the recommendations are done, and before it gets to the governor's desk. Is there any other tweaks that can be made or anything like that? I think that's the real big question with now North and South leaders and entities. Uh,
Well, to that point, in this article, Senator McKinney is quoted saying that Tuesday that the process to award the grants is moving forward. So there are next steps, like as you mentioned, the Olsen recommendation is not the end all be all. It is just that a recommendation. Senator McKinney says that he expects a public hearing on proposed implementation in early March, which actually shout out to the chat chimers being awesome as they always are, getting a date for us. I believe one of the chat chimers had mentioned that date is March 7th for LB 531, which is the bill that will lay out that plan to implement. And again, this is the actual plan on how the money will be sent out, not the Olsen recommendation, which again is just a recommendation. LB 531 will be the implementation plan, and it will spell out how this money will be dispersed. And that bill is still being written right now and was still have to be adopted by the full legislature. So there are definitely multiple steps. But as I understand right now, LB 531 is set for public hearing on March 7th. But again, as Senator McKinney says, it's just the process. So it's kind of just the formalities right now.
I was just trying to look and see. I remember we had at one point we had a list of people that were in that in Olsen in the
Yeah, we
Olsen
can pull
group
that
that
up.
that had. Yeah, I'm wondering if that's what they were. I remember there was supposed to be a conglomeration between people from this entity, an entity that was from out of town, and an entity that was from in town. But I don't know. I'm kind of just really seeing like who Olsen was, board of directors, leadership, so on and so forth. Brother Ron Chapman says, I don't think there was one black representative on the Olsen team. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Looking at the board, there's one black man on the board. Looking at leadership, not really seeing names that I recognize. So again, I gotta kind of, I don't know if it's what am I trying to say? I don't really know if it's relevant at this point. Um, that I mean, I think a lot of people spoke up about the Olsen group before they were making those recommendations. I remember us
Mhm.
talking about that.
Yeah, like who are they?
Who are they? What are you going to do about? Do we have any say in who's going to make the recommendations or who's going to be on that team or board or any of that kind of stuff?
Mhm.
I think that was something they had to make a decision on deciding so that they can, and their whole point was so that the senators can be hands off and a
Right,
whole
right.
other entity could be out there trying to look at this stuff without bias and make some kind of decision. So this is what we got. And again, I don't think they're being I don't see them being very communicative about the process at this point. Does it matter? Does it matter what Olsen did? Because now it really is like up to whatever's going on in the next step. If that's something to focus on, I'm not sure.
Yeah. To Brother Von Chapman's point, he says, can the governor stop or block any of that money that from going to anyone selected by Olson? And if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken, that is a reality. So to your point, does it matter? You know, Olson may have suggested this, that, and the third, but if Illin Pillin, isn't for it, and even if it, that's not to mention the whole legislative process, and if it makes it through the
right.
the legislature. But let's say it does make it through the legislature and it does find its way to the governor's desk. He can still, say no.
To all of it.
Right, right, right. Because
Yeah,
it is his cabinet or his elected people, the people that he appointed, that kind of have to deal with it. They have to actually be the ones to press the button and distribute the funds.
this is state money,
Yeah.
so it's gonna have that there is. This was just a process. It was a process that other entities and other states have been using in order to disperse some of those funds. Some of the stimulus stuff that Biden had coming. I've read about other states that had outside groups come in and decide institutes that are in the infrastructure realm are going to
Hmm.
spend those infrastructure dollars that Biden, earmarked for the country. So there's, this is a process, but it's still the regular process. They got to go. That's why these senators. That's why there's other senators in the legislature right now fighting to try to get those funds in order to do stuff like build lakes. They
Yeah.
still have an opportunity to get their hands on it if it's not being fought for in the right way. So I think that's the biggest concern. Biggest concern from my perspective is understanding that the senators are up there still trying to fight for them dollars. And the question is there still things that can be done, moved around after this Olsen thing? And are we talking about Olsen too much? Like it's already a done deal. They're not even answering the phone hardly anymore. Like let's talk about what the next move is and if there's any way that can be influenced and how. You know,
Hmm.
we'll see.
Yeah. We'll have Senator McKinney on. It'll be nice to kind of ask him where he is in the writing of LB 531 and what does that look like? What does that entail? What is being addressed in that bill?
Wait a minute. What's 531?
LB 531 is the next step. That's the bill that
Okay.
will lay out the plan. So again, LB 1024 is the bill to get the funds allocated, to get the whole
Right.
process started, to set up the foundation for the process. But then there has to be legislation in bills and decisions made on how it's going to be sent out. The stipulations surrounding that, timetables, reporting. I mean, there's still a lot, with all of this.
Yep. Makes sense. We'll see. It's still a lot of questions. I'm really grateful to the senators for coming on weekly to try to talk about some of these things. So we got more questions. Get your questions ready. We're gonna have the brother senators on here pretty soon, and we can talk about this a little bit further. So appreciate everybody who jumped in the chat on this and got questions. And we as you can see, the process is pretty extensive. So we still have to keep asking questions and keep on keeping our eye on it every step of the
Hmm.
way. And really, I feel like really
That's
coming
the big
together
thing.
is the biggest thing to
That's
me.
the big
Like
thing.
we talk about getting people up to the legislature to support certain bills and so on and so forth. This is one of the biggest ones we need to have bodies in the room with, especially everybody who's kind of complaining, and everybody who feels like they got shortchanged. I mean, the brother senators are saying, let's talk to us, let's figure things out. There's other funds out there that we can be getting to. It's not just about 1024. But 1024 is still in motion.
Mm-hmm.
One time I heard Bill King, he was so hot about some things that he was just like, we're concentrating real hard on who got recommended for funds and who didn't. And I don't know, and I was nervous that it was going to be a situation where there was going to be some of us in the Black community that was not going to support this bill because of that, just because like, oh, I didn't get recommended for this, and these other entities did, and they shouldn't get it, and so if they can't get it, none of us gonna get it. The kind of real emotional about
Selfish.
well, it's high emotions when you got millions of dollars coming in, and then you feel like you've been doing the work, and then an entity comes in and tells you they're not recommending you for any of those dollars. It was frustrating. We were frustrated when we first seen the zero on our name. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can understand that, but the point now is understanding the process even more. What I'm seeing is, and what everybody's seeing is, William King. I talked to William King already. Like, everybody is like, okay, let's calm down, let's get together, let's back this so we can still get this money in this community, because
Mm-hmm.
it is a real threat that other senators are trying to go after them dollars in
Yeah.
order to do stuff, pet projects like Bill Lakes out west. So if I don't get any money this round, at least I know what the process is, can learn for next round. I do know there's more money out there to get, and I know that there's a bunch of entities that want us to have it. So push past all this mess and let's all get together and figure out how to get this bag. Like, bottom line.
Right. And for organizations that did get it, if you didn't, find out how to team up.
Man, there's organizations have reached out to us already. Like, we did get recommended. If we get it, then we'll talk. Let's talk about collabing after that. And
mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
mm-hmm.
there's too much here at stake, and and then not just that. I was going to say that last part was this is not the only money coming. There's already stuff being set up to try to get regular sums of money into North and South Omaha over the next few years. Like, let's get together now, because there's going to be even more opportunities to do this on a regular basis if we can do that, if we can get it together.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I get off my soapbox now. That woman gives us a good morning, friends.
Hey.
What's going on, Miss Erica Felt? How you doing? Brianna Full in the chat says that we don't need to go to the Capitol in disarray and let them racist senators see our community in chaos, because they will use that as an excuse to take the money.
Man.
So what I was trying to say for the last 6 minutes is what she said in one little sentence. So I appreciate you, Brianna Full. That's exactly what I mean. Like,
yeah.
And not just let them see that, but let's actually get together on it. There's power in us collaborating and going after bigger dollars, and especially right now while we have people fighting for that for us.
Man, and I do want to mention that's the same sentiment in the South, as far as South Omaha and all the organizations that are teaming together. And I'm glad you mentioned, like, it takes unity. Let's come together, because that's only going to make the senator's job a lot more easier, rather than having to decide who gets what and make a decision, and basically the senators being pitted, or the people, putting the senators in the middle, like, hey, don't choose this, let's all come together and say, so the senators can just say, hey, just give the money to them and they'll figure it out. There's a quote from the organizations in South Omaha that I want to dive into. It says, what is important for us is to let the state senators and the community as a whole know that all the organizations are ready to deliver on these projects. This is a historic moment where organizations in South Omaha are coming together to work regardless of the differences of the past and looking in the future at the only thing we need to focus on, a historic opportunity that we don't want to go to waste. And that's definitely the feeling in North Omaha. And unless we get it together, it is a reality that we will fumble the bag and cut off our nose to spite our face.
Man, that would be real ignorant.
Man, but even now, the dysfunction, that is a real question that comes about. Like, if it's all this dysfunction, can they really get the job done? If we do give them the money, can they really follow through?
Yeah. That's the question. And I kind of have to look at the past and see who's followed through with other stuff. When I'm the conversation I'm having with Willie Barney, I'm looking into it myself. After we have these conversations, I'll go and try to dig and see what's going on. I know they're associated with 30 or 40 different groups.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were applying for what they're applying for, they got 40, 45, 50 groups, other entities, other black businesses and stuff they're trying to work with, because that money has to go somewhere. If the money comes down in one entity, then there's still an opportunity to propose to that entity who got the dollars, what it is that you do, how it is that you can help or collaborate with them on things. Like, that's the thing, man. Get the money in the community first, and then we can fight it out. I mean, not fight it out, but we can figure out how to collaborate after that too. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it even comes down to that.
That was one of the big things. Like early on, when the recommendations were released, there was some conversation about, let's try to get everybody to get 100,000 for every single proposed idea. And it's like, if you paid attention and you actually read the recommendations, you will see that there isn't an organization that's set up to get like $1 million to give 100 businesses $100,000.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember that. Yeah.
Rather than trying to divvy it up amongst everybody, just go partner with them if you need, you know what I mean? Like, there's ways to collaborate. And also, some of these organizations are getting money to pay for a service that they need. You might be the provider of that service, so although you might not get the money directly, it's still economic development, economic stimulation, and that's really, the economic wheels can get turning from that, and you can still benefit. So, let's not look at it how we're looking at it.
Obviously, there's a lot more conversation that needs to be had here, not just on this show, but with the senators also, just in public in general. There's a lot of the leaders of North Omaha, especially, that are trying to get together and have some conversations. And that's part of it too. Let's just be a part of the conversation. Keep on showing up and being a part of the conversation, and try to get to that point. But do it in a spirit of collaboration. We're trying to. We really have to try to get together on this. Getting together is the only way that we'll receive any benefits from these funds at all.
Mm-hmm.
And for future funds is what I'm trying to think about this a little bit broader than just 1024, because there's 300 million is 300 million, but if you can get another 100 million next year, another 100 million next year, if you can keep on getting hundreds of millions of dollars that come in consecutively over the course of time, how much how much building and how much support can we really have in the neighborhoods if we have an opportunity to do that.
And see, that's the thing. That's the thing I will say, through just experience with the nonprofit world, and seeing like some organizations that got $300,000 and $500,000 at some point, and had a plan and didn't follow through with that plan, and didn't really do what was expected with the money, and then how that impacts future investment and future things. So it's not always about racism, and it's not always about communities of color not getting money just because they're communities of color. Sometimes it's because they're communities of color, they're viewed as they can't spend the money, or they don't really do right with the money. And if that can be addressed, then maybe the viewpoint will change. Maybe more investment will come. I feel like people care more about their bottom line, the dollars, than always being racist. It's not just always about racism.
Yeah, and we in depressed communities and oppressed communities, I should say, it is something to think about, because a lot of time we don't have the knowledge or the education on how to do things. But even within those in those neighborhoods, there's resources everywhere. So
Mhm.
we're a couple of musicians that don't have the knowledge on how to really build business all the way. So we constantly seek out stuff like Julian Young and his financial advisory company that is helping us put us on track on things like. So there's resources within the community too, even to get to that point where you can help, where you can really put your plan together to really make that work. That's another thing that struck me too, that everybody has, the senators were talking about, that they had to look at. If somebody says, I need $10 million to do this project, they get recommended for 5. It goes through the legislature, they end up with 3. Can they still do the job with 3 that they said they needed 10 for? That's something that they got to look at, because if they
Mhm.
can't, then they're not going to give them that. You're not going to get that 3. It has to go to somewhere else, some other entity or some other place that that can get the job done with the allotted money and so on. So that's something else. It's like you don't just say, "Hey, I want the money." You got to prove that you know how to use it, and then if you get recommended for less, you got to prove how you're going to adjust. There's a whole bunch of conversations that got to still be had by every entity, and we know it because we're going through that process ourselves. We're going through this right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this is why I know you got to advocate for what it is you're trying to do and adjust all the way down the line, all the way to Ill and Pillen's desk on this. If you're looking for them dollars,
Man, big funds, and there are some things on the back end as far as like paying state taxes and you know what I'm saying, making sure your business is in line in order to get these funds as well. So yeah, let's make sure we're doing what we need to do. It's not just about Olson and the senators just handing out money like Oprah. Like there's some things that you have to do. You have to have a solid plan. You have to have some ducks in a row in order to really make this work and really make an impact, because it's not just about giving the money to the community and the community ending up back where they started 10 years later. It's about actually creating change that will last beyond these just this bill.
Yeah, I got feedback on the proposal that I put out there. The feedback was, you guys don't really know how to write grants. Yes, that's not something we do on a regular basis. You're right. You got a little storytelling going on, but you don't quite know how to ask for the money. Well, I'm not used to asking for the money like that. So yeah, give me some pointer. Give me the pointer.
Yeah,
that's all.
Take the criticism.
7:46 right now, if you believe in the concept of time. Kimra Snipes is in the chat. She says, "Good morning, y'all. What's going on with you?" We were just talking about the Canopy group. We just did a little news on that. She says she'll also be has a meeting coming up with the Canopy South. Saw Cesara last night. That's what's up. She says Wednesday the 1st is another voter ID day. 3 bills will be up. I'll have more info that I'll share on the First Sky page. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Looking forward.
Von Chapman in the chat says, "And optimism is never a substitute for skills." Very true.
Man.
Gotta have skills, bro.
Gotta have skills.
You gotta have.
Hey.
All right, then, Guru. That's what's up. Young Guru in the house.
Man, rest in peace.
Yeah, man. So you're right. That's a lot of what's lacking, and it doesn't have to lack because there's a lot of resources on learning what you need to learn, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to learn, then it ain't for you to do in the first place. I think everything is a learning process.
And that's not to say I don't want to get anybody to get it misconstrued. Now, we're not saying that there aren't any skills, or like there's a ton of skills and talent in North and South Omaha. But you gotta put your best foot forward in order to show that and represent that.
And really what gets me, I don't know if it's just because we're in the position that we're in right now, where we talk to a lot of different entities and people and businesses and organizations, but there's everything you need is in North and South Omaha.
Oh yeah.
Like if you don't know how to do something all the way, I guarantee you 2 doors down from where you at, if you don't know how to write grants, I got five sisters in North Omaha alone that knows how to write, that are certified grant writers. Hit them up, collaborate. Like let's utilize the resources that we have within the situation. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm still on my soapbox. I said I'd get off. 7:48 right now.
You smell the coffee?
Yeah, man. That's what I need is another cup. Pouring on my feet because it's cold outside. We'll take a quick break. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, all of you. Tell a friend, share the show.
Hey.
Stay tuned. We're anticipating the brothers, Senators Terrell, McKinney, and Justin Wayne on shortly. We'll be right back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio on this Friday.
Hey. All right, yeah.
Stay warm though, y'all. Right near the beach is where I'm going right now. back. You listen to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, you chat chimers, you ghost listeners. Right on, Pops. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's a Boogie Jones special, man. Shout out to the Scorchers. Boogie Jones is a genius. Can't wait to make it big so I can put him on because he's the dude.
The dude.
Kimber Snipes is way off topic, but the RZA was on GMA yesterday. Wu Tang.
Hey, woo.
Forever, ever. Yo, we are back. It is 7:50 right now, if you believe in the concept of time, and we got a special guest hanging in the wings, man. We're gonna go ahead and bring him on now. So appreciate our brother Senator Justin Wayne. Put some respect on his name. Coming on in. What's going on, my brother?
Man, gonna be late today. That's all. No, I've been dealing with this head cold. It's been getting me for a week, but it's cool.
Oh man,
COVID though. So
gotta take the good with the bad. Gotta take the good with the bad. Right. But definitely safe travels. As you make your way to Lincoln a little later on.
Well, first off, I think I didn't do it last week because I wasn't here, but I think we got to, give a little moment of silence. We lost a great coach, a great mentor, and a great person with Billy Baker from All-American. And I think Black folks all across the country should take a moment to make sure Billy Baker's family know we care about him.
Got you, man. Right on, a little moment of silence. I hear that. Hey,
a great show.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, pretty good show. Along with Wu Tang, I saw you, Kimra. Yeah, the Wu Tang show is pretty good too.
That's what's up. We also got our brother Senator Terrell McKinney in the wings too. So go ahead and bring him on in there too. What's going on, brother McKinney?
Not much. How y'all doing?
Hey. I saw a couple Vikings. Took some gold home. Congratulations on the W in Vikings wrestling.
Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. V's up.
Putting in the work. What'd you say, brother Wayne? You said McKinney already down there. You down there already?
We both can't be late. They be getting mad when we be riding together.
So you gotta take turns being late around there. Well, we appreciate you guys coming on, man. Most definitely. Before we get started here, I just want to jump into what Von Chapman is asking. He says the biggest concern will be the governor. After all is said and done, what will he decide regarding his priorities for Nebraska and Omaha in particular? What can be done to influence him to do the right thing for both North and South Omaha? So you can see we're all back talking about 1024.
Yep. And
that's because the South was in the news. It was a reader article that hit me to the fact that South side, which I wasn't even thinking about. Leaders on the South side also had some questions for y'all. I'm just thinking North side chiming up, but you guys get it from all sides. So you want to speak to that a little bit since they were kind of in the news. What's going on with the leaders on the South side?
They had, I guess they have some concerns about the process. I guess they reached out to Olsen, and Olsen kind of directed them to me. They were paid to do the coordination plan. They got paid to do that. They weren't paid to continue to consult. I mean, who's going to pay for that?
Right.
We still have to go through the process. We still have to have the hearing. That's just what it is. It's nothing to be confused about. I mean, it's slow because we haven't had the hearing.
Yeah, they say the wheels of democracy turn slow. And speaking of that, I do understand that LB 531 is that is that the next step? Is that the next bill that will be getting a hearing, or can you speak to that, what that is and where that is?
Yeah, LB 531 and LB 785 is two bills addressing the recommendations in the plan.
Okay.
One goes to urban affairs and one goes to appropriations.
Okay, and it just lays out the process of how it's being. Is that opportunity for people to make comment on, propose ideas and projects, or is that something else?
It's an opportunity for people to come testify about their support for the plan and how it will benefit both North and South Omaha.
Okay.
This falls right in line with what we've been trying to head up this last few weeks about getting bodies up to the legislature to support certain bills, and then here we now all this talk that we've been talking about here with 1024 dollars coming in and so on. This is the perfect time for us to kind of get together and come up and support the senators who are fighting for this money for the community. So yeah, it's good timing. I'm glad that we have been kind of talking about that for the last couple of weeks, so we can kind of set up some support here for this and do the best we can on that. I know that every time you guys come on, it seems like we bring it up 1024. We hate to keep on harping on it because we know there's a lot more going on. So just wanted to get that out the way because it was in the news. I have one more question about it though. I've been hearing about leaders in the community who are still trying to work, trying to figure out what we can do. Some of them have told me that you guys have talked to them and said that there's some things that we can kind of move around and do and get together on and so on. So I kind of wanted to hear from y'all before I went off on what the hearsay was on that. Is there still work being done with 1024 as far as just getting with the community and revamping some applications or something? Like what is there? What else is there? Anything else happening there that these leaders who seem to be focused on still trying to tweak the 1024 situation? Is that happening, or is this wishful thinking on everybody's part?
Well, I mean, for me, there was an article about South Omaha, but by and large, they had a press conference and they're all saying let's rock and roll and we're ready to go. Like North Omaha seems to be the dissenting group, and that's unfortunate because the last article that came out in the Examiner is people are getting worried now that this money's going to move, and we've been kind of telling everybody this ain't a for sure thing done. So we come down here and tear each other apart, then that opens the door for somebody else to get something.
Right. And I guess what is the concern is as far as 531 or the next step and when there is public hearing, and maybe I'm asking the same question in a different way and let me know, but as far as new ideas, as far as new proposals,
they'll have to be within the report already, so they have to apply already. Now, can they technically reapply? Probably, because anybody can apply to the grant process, but they'll have to be in the report right now. Otherwise, we just wasted $1 million on a report that we didn't need to do anything for. So they'll have to be in the report. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's maybe because I'm a little under the weather, but if your business model is 100% relying on dollars from the government, then we got to go out and figure out a different business model.
Truth. Yeah, that's real.
Yeah, that's
gotta be.
The big thing.
Part of the reason, just to be blunt about it, part of the reason why we haven't got the amendment of the hearing set is you can't write special legislation. So, like Senator McKinney and I were sitting down yesterday trying to figure out how do we make a black media play. I have a bill in education around media. We could use 1024, but how do you write it? And who's the sponsoring organization? Like at the end of the day, there's only so many black media or even brown media in Omaha, but half of us don't get along. So how do you write the bill to say this person can get it without isolating everybody else? So, we having these conversations daily of trying to figure out how do you write it to make sure it goes to East Omaha, but at the same time, when it comes to media, how do we make sure everybody comes together and plays in a sandbox together?
Yeah. That's what I was just mentioning. How do you make the senator's job easier? Like everybody splitting it, you're making it impossible for the senators not to alienate and upset somebody. I mean, of course, you can't make everybody happy, but definitely got to make the job easier. But from what I'm hearing, there's no real opportunity for any new projects. If your proposal, if you didn't get it in, you can maybe rework it. You can maybe get some support for or against as far as public hearing. But as far as new proposals, new projects, that's kind of behind.
There won't be opportunity for somebody who never participated to come in the last minute and participate.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Just want to speak on that real quick when you're talking about as far as black media is concerned. That's a big question too, like who's going to steward that and so on. And I know that we weren't ready to do that. We weren't ready to steward a whole. We had the idea and wanted to have a conglomeration of black media. We've been working for that for the past ever since Mine and Soul days. But again, like we're here right here being like that's a big situation to figure out like who's going to steward the building of that situation, who's going to build it up. How can the entities work together, still working together in the first place. So I'm sure that kind of thing is happening in a bunch of different industries and in parts of the city where everybody's trying to figure out like how to get together and how that can work. Because what I'm seeing is that it can even after that, like the people who got recommended for funds, if it comes down that they actually get funds, there's still areas where we can all work together, even with those entities that receive the funds. So I mean, there's a lot to that. But not to drag that out, I definitely want to get to some of the other things that you guys feel is very important, because we've been talking about this, and I feel like we got a good grasp on it. I'm not really receiving a whole bunch of more questions from people in the chat or people from friends of First Sky Omaha. I think that our audience is getting what the process is, and now we're just trying to make sure that we can rally, all collaborate, work together, get together, and go up and support you guys on the rest on making sure that North and South Omaha does actually get that money, and that's what we're trying to figure out now. So taking a pause from that, because like I said, I don't want the whole conversation to end up there. Tell us about some of the other things that you feel like are important, that are coming up, that you need our support on, and stuff that we haven't been talking about that we've missed, that we probably need to be talking about.
Next week, I have a bill. I think it's LB 530. It deals with OHA. It does a few things. It makes the CEO elected by the residents of OHA, the resident commissioners elected by the residents of OHA. It says nobody from the mayor's office could be on the OHA board. It says that they can't make money off the contracts. And then it also says that the CEO has to live in the county or city in which OHA is, because currently the CEO thinks she lives in Iowa somewhere.
Wow. That's heavy, man. Definitely with we were a part of we had some chat timers that were trying to reach out to OHA and talk and find out what was going on with the situation with the bed bugs in the tower and so on. So yeah, we've been trying to talk to some people at OHA. So this is huge.
Here's a link to the bill.
Can't wait to I put the link to the bill inside there. That's what's up. I think that is something that is definitely needed. Wait a minute.
Today I got a streetcar bill that I'm trying to make sure we get a line going to North Omaha. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know how that's really going to go. And then next week I have a bill, LB 348, which will deal with community work release. And so instead of having folks just jam out, we're going to try to create a halfway house system. And in that halfway house, we're going to make sure that they have a job and learning some skills. So when they get out, they ain't going back to the same situation.
Right, man. That's big. That's big. And when are the hearings for those bills? You said next week. Is that next Wednesday?
Yeah, mine's March 2nd. So it'll be Thursday. Will be that big one.
What's the LB for the streetcar bill? LB
477. That's today. You can go on and do online comments, but the proposed route, there's a couple of different ones. One's 30th Street, one's 16th Street, one's Florence Boulevard down to Lake, down to 16th Street. But the whole point for me is we got to have one go through North Omaha, and we got to have one connect to the airport, or the streetcar don't make sense. Otherwise, right now, the streetcar ain't nothing but Blackstone going down to party downtown and riding it back up to Blackstone. So
party bus.
So this is a
big party streetcar. That's all. So
so this is a proposal to connect those two routes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So nice. I'm asking for $100 million. So I figured if we bring $100 million, we could put the damn streetcar wherever we want.
Man.
Okay.
That's the first I heard of that. That's a great idea. I don't think when we were talking about the streetcar, I don't even think we were talking about how to connect it to North O. So that's And you're right. Like it needs to get down to the airport for real.
Yeah, it don't make sense, right? At the end of the day, Blackstone to Quest and back to Blackstone, that don't make
Yeah,
sense.
who does that who's that for? Who's that
Yeah,
benefit? Yeah,
right.
it's real. I did have a few other questions about some bills, some other bills from you, Senator McKinney. Definitely wanted to get your take on this hair bill. I know that was actually one of the first bills that you got passed as far as you know, easing the way for students to not was it the students or was it in the workplace as far as
It
hair
was
discrimination?
it was in the workplace.
It was in the workplace. So now you're moving to the schools. Can you kind of speak to why you thought that was an important bill to push?
Because of there's been just countless situations of, students being, suspended from school because of their hair or their hair getting cut by teachers and things like that. And I thought it was just natural to try to address the hair issues within our schools. We had a great hearing in education. It was a lot of groups that came from all walks of life: Native, Black, Latino, Muslim, Middle Eastern. So it was a good mix. It got voted out of committee unanimously. So I'm hopeful that we could get it on the agenda and get it passed this year.
Okay.
So crazy to me that we got to do all this just so people can wear their hair how they want to wear it.
Man,
Bro,
but
they in Western Nebraska was literally cutting people's hair at school.
it's a real thing. It's a real thing. Speaking of, cutting people's hair and putting hands on people, LB 811. We do have this event for LB 811. There's an event to oppose LB 811, which it says to provide for basically teachers to be able to physically restrain students and use any thoughts or comment on that?
I'm actually torn. And this is where the nuances, and now our listeners are going to like this, but we got some problems in our school, and we need to be able to I hate to say it, take some people out of class. I just don't like the optics, and I don't like the idea that we just gonna go grab a kid and remove them. So like it's too hard to me. This is one of those situations where it's too hard to balance the nuances, and so I'm gonna err on the side of you ain't gonna beat black and brown kids. So
man, you said exactly what I'm thinking. I was feeling the same way this morning when I read that. I was torn because I'm like, if they acting if they threatening my kid in class, yeah, pick him up and take him out of there. And then I was thinking if it was my kid in class that got picked up and taken out of there, I kind of don't know. I mean, if he's acting
that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like if the teacher gets some training on how to restrain a child and so on, and there's some checks and balances on whether or not they putting their hands on more brown kids than others and so on, then maybe I don't know. Especially since the last time.
But that's the problem is if OPS wasn't disproportionately suspended and expelling black kids.
Right.
Yeah,
so who's going to be the kids getting grabbed? It's going to be black kids. That's the problem.
If they grab your kids, they might get wrestled down to the ground anyway. And then the teacher.
But this is an example of one of those bills that on the surface you're like I can understand, but then when you start thinking about the practical implications, you like, man, this will go south real quick. And so
racial impact statements are needed.
Yeah. There you go, Senator.
Here's another thing that I was thinking about though too. The last time we talked about any of this, we were talking about teachers having guns in class. So to me is a if that's on the table too, then I think maybe restraint is probably a little bit better than having armed teachers. If they got to do something.
Well, also, I'm thinking about it from the teacher's perspective. I mean, we'll get into it a little later on. I guess, there's conversation about teachers getting a raise soon, but are teachers being paid enough to be physically restraining students and being armed with guns in class? Like, are you even paying teachers enough to do all that?
I mean, I don't know.
So the history of this bill is I actually voted it on a poll motion 3 years ago. And to get it to the floor with the understanding of, over the summer, that center at that time was going to work on it, and then he didn't. So Terrell and I ended up leading the filibuster against it, and the problem is now it's called the I Beat Black Kids bill, and we can't you can't undo the marketing of it.
No.
Yeah.
So is this the same like iteration of the bill that?
Yeah.
Oh, so there's still been no changes at all.
No. Here's the reality from an attorney's perspective. What's in the bill is actually already allowed under law. It's just case law. So what this bill is trying to do is codify it, put it in statute, because too many teachers feel like they can't intervene. Like, hey, if I intervene and the kid gets hurt, that I'm liable. That's just not the truth. And so the teachers want it in statute so they can say, no, here's a statute. I ain't got to go look up a whole bunch of cases and figure it out. Here goes a statute. So it's just codifying it. But again, these are one of those where I can understand, but at the same time, not sure how you go actually implement it in Omaha public schools.
So an article that we pulled, IB Black Girl was it was the one that was on Facebook saying, "Come with us so we can go fight this bill," and that's why they're calling it IB Black Kids or what? What did you? What
You said I beat Black Kids?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
So on the floor, I think I said it or something, and it kind of just stuck, and so that's the term for it now. You just say some things sometimes on the floor when you get in the moment, and sometimes it's thick, and this is one of those moments where it's stuck.
But the reason why I'm asking is because IB Black Girl is promoting for this bill to not pass. Is that right?
Correct. Okay. And again, it's for the same reasons. And I saw Vaughn put in the chat. So one of the McKinney's amendments calls for a program manager outside anybody who's participating in 1024 to report out to the community monthly on where dollars are spent, how dollars are being spent in North Omaha. So there is money set aside for a third party evaluator to communicate with the community on 1024.
Okay.
Let me speak to that real quick. I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to jump into the chat. For those of you on YouTube, Vaughn Chapman asked, Justin has often said that there has been millions of dollars that has come through North Omaha in the past. Not sure if any of those dollars got where it was supposed to go or did what it was supposed to do. Is there or will there be a monitoring mechanism in place to ensure monies are being properly used, LB 1024? So you're answering yes, there is going to be some management in place there for that.
Right. And honestly, again, the amendment's been done for a while. I was just Senator McKinney and I keep talking about how to tweak it, because the problem is what we've learned through this process is the media and the story just not being told, and so much confusion. And we're trying to figure out how do we set up an infrastructure to really, and this goes to voter engagement, this goes to everything, right? Like the reason why Black folks aren't engaged in politics is we feel like it don't matter. And we got to help them understand and help us understand how to navigate the system, what the system is, and how you can get something out of the system.
Yeah. And hopefully we're doing a decent job at telling the story.
Bro.
And hopefully we're not in our attempt to clarify and get to the bottom of it. Hopefully we're not stirring more confusion. That's what we're trying not to do.
Kimber Snipes is asking, did the Malcolm X bill move out of committee?
Not yet.
Oh, that bill ain't going nowhere. Terrell said, if y'all want to get rid of holidays, get rid of the ones that are racist first. I said, oh, there go that.
That's too much for
well, yeah, you had a chance.
I heard there was
hard, it's hard. They be saying the dumbest. So my fellow voting bill is the same person who commented on Terrell's bill. The lady gets up and it's like, I just think they need 2 years to sit and think about what it means to vote.
What? Like you said that last time. You said that last week, Terrell. You said people are. It's like arbitrary. Why it's 2 years? But if you get like, where did that number even come from? And
it came from under the balcony. So the bill was on the floor. And the actual bill was to just take it right when you get out, you could vote. And they were afraid of the elections. So they put it 2 years out. So they didn't get impacted. And that's documented. That came on the floor. But yeah, it was, she just got up and she's a board of regents. She's a Nebraska board of regents.
Oh, man.
And she said she didn't like Terrell's bill, got too many holidays, and that she didn't like my bill because they just need to think about voting over 2 years before they get the vote.
Wow.
I told you, bro. Well, I told you, watching the unicamera, watching it is like the best soap opera on TV right now, bro. For real, like every
Sunday,
chance.
you just gotta sit there. You're just like, where am I at? Like this.
You know where you are. You know where you are.
Hey, jump back to the chat real quick. Marianne Williams says if they could or would prosecute school staff that cross the line, that would be one thing. But this damn near gives them immunity, and the lack of training requirement is a no for me. So we're talking about Bill 811, whether or not teachers. But you're saying that teachers can already do that and not get sued. It's just basically they're trying to create a statute.
Correct. They can do it already, but this does, to her point, it does say that basically you are immune unless you're unreasonable, which is kind of what the case law says, but it's a little clearer in this statute than case law. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but it is what it is.
Marion Williams says Republicans hate creating holidays at all, much less one for someone they have zero appreciation for. It's funny too. Every time I talk to me like that, they're like, "Why would we do a holiday for a black guy who just hates white people?" Like people have actually said that to me. Like, it doesn't matter that he's from here. They, what? Why is he celebrated? This black guy that just hates white people. That's all you know about Malcolm X.
But at the same time, it's like, then why are all these slave masters being celebrated? Like, what are you talking about?
All right, Terrell Jr., here you go.
I mean, it is what it is, man. Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all because this is just ridiculous. But that's the type of mess I'm sure y'all go up against every day.
Like Kimber said, live in the soap opera.
You can't make this stuff up. What goes on down here? The comments that we hear. You just be shaking your head like, did they just really say that? No, they couldn't have. I must have misheard.
We need to put together like a Saturday Night Live type of show that just copies everything that's going on in these meetings. Crazy thing. Mama God in the house, man. Mama God, how you doing? She says, my grandma made all kind of Valentine's tree for my 4th grade class. My teacher got mad at me and tried to excuse me from the party. I snatched everything I brought from every classmate and threw it at the teacher. So yeah, I was acting a fool, but mom walked in the principal Taylor's knee in my back. She then put her knee in my back. I never tried that again. It was so valuable to me. Unfortunately, so much has been lost along the way until we can't trust the school system to respect us while directing us.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, I'm about to get beat up on the school choice bill. And that's about opportunity scholarship bill, 753, I think is the bill number. But at the end of the day, we just got the reports from OPS on suspension rates. Man, people are like, Justin, you can't do this. Schools might discriminate. I'm like, first of all, there's no evidence of that. But 2, OPS is already discriminating. I mean, we can look at the suspension rates. It's ridiculous. And when we saw it, I mean, like 60% of the expulsion rates are African Americans. We make up 20%. Like it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. And shout out to Leo Lewis. Shout out to Leo Lewis, who's kind of been pushing. As far as I understand, he's been pushing to do something and address OPS over the last couple, even pre-pandemic. Really been pushing to do something about this. And now we're here several years later, and you're saying it's still an issue.
Yeah, the crazy part is I heard nobody who has a kid in Omaha public schools who is black or brown say they against this bill. Not one. Most of them are saying, how do I get my kid out right now? That's the emails I'm getting and the conversations I'm getting is, where can my kid go to school?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I brought up Mandela. Like that's it. Like, as far as like kids and like, it's like, how do I get my kid in Mandela? If I can't get my kid in Mandela, then I'll put him in public school because I have to and don't really have the time or the energy or the resources to homeschool them. But yeah, people aren't. No. And yeah, it's a headache.
That's a shame, man. I mean, it's, black and brown is mostly makes up OPS. So like, it's not, I can imagine everybody don't got the option to pull their kid out. So something got to change in OPS.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just it. These are not like exclusively this $25 million for a scholarship tax credit fund, and all it is a tax credit when people donate to a scholarship. That $25 million isn't somehow going to go to OPS or education. Like, So if that bill dies, it isn't like it's going to education. That
Mhm.
bill dies, it's going to go to some other special project. So
Mhm.
for me, it's like I'll take a chance. I roll the dice. If something happens in my community.
Yeah,
Right.
and looking at it from that is an important part to, or important way to look at it, because that is one of the big arguments that I'm hearing as far as this bill goes, is the funding part of it, not even necessarily your ideology or your belief in charter schools or public schools. It's the funding, and people are saying that this takes funding away from public schools, which you're saying is not the case at
No,
all.
it's not the case at all. For one, and two, me being on education committee this year, my big thing is I can't support right now any of the plans that are out here for school reforms because OPS gets zero. Now in the special education funding, they get about 22 million, but West Side, for example, under both plans gets about extra $10 billion plus special ed funding. So I'm like, all these plans, OPS don't get anything. So we're gonna try to figure out how to get some more dollars. But to me, these aren't the same. They ain't tied together. The money ain't coming out the same pot. That's the biggest misnomer that people are saying is somehow the money coming out the same pot. It ain't at all. Actually, we have a separate,
Yeah.
separate funding education.
I think one of the biggest issues is that Black people are not a monolith. You know, it's so many. When I look on social media every day, I see parent after parent. Like I screenshot it on purpose because people be like, just going. It's so many Black parents that are asking like, how can I get my kid into something? I got a little cousin that was struggling in OPS, getting put out of class, all type of stuff. His mom pulled him out of OPS and put him in Jesuit. He one of the best kids over there. I'm not saying it's for every kid, but we got kids falling through the cracks, and people keep telling us to trust the system, but the system been screwing over Black kids my whole life. When is the system going to care about Black kids? That's the
And
that's the
I,
biggest thing about it.
and I agree. And so to me, it's not separate. We try to move both at the same time, and that's what people got to understand. And the last thing I say, in no way am I just saying OPS is horrible, but at the end of the day, we got to figure out how to move the needle. And I don't know if it's just too big. I don't know what it is, but we are spending on average about $12,000 a student at OPS, and so we got to figure it out. And I don't pretend to know all the answers. I never say I do, but I know that if he lives on 36 at Ames and goes up north, from a state's perspective, we give $5,000, $5,500 to OPS for that student. If that same kid goes to West Side, we give West Side $10,000. Tell me how that makes sense.
And it's
Right.
a smaller district, so that
Weird
$12 goes even that much further, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And also, just to kind of hammer home and clarify what I'm hearing from you as far as the school choice bill, it's not an either or. It is you are trying to give parents the option of charter schools or something other than public schools, while also improving public schools at the same time.
Right. Yeah. They're totally separate. And again, right now I'm trying to figure out how to get OPS some more dollars out of this on this education committee to help them. But I mean, and it's not just. I mean, small towns are struggling with the same thing with poverty and English second language, and we got to revamp how we fund our schools completely. That's just the reality.
It's 8:23 right now. If you believe in the concepts of time, we're here with brother senators Justin Wayne, Terrell, McKinney, and all of you, the chat chimers. I just want to remind you in the chat, especially what brother Fulton is putting out. Brother Fulton, remember the chat is the conversation. We're having a conversation. You can the senators are here. You can talk directly to them. This is not just to leave messages, but if you have actual questions, then go ahead and ask while we're here with the senators. Just want to remind everybody that's how we use the chat. The chat's a conversation as if we're standing face to face talking to each other. So if you have a question, please put that to the senators and we can ask that. Von Chapman over on Facebook is saying the disproportionate numbers of Black and brown juveniles in juvenile justice system is a testament to a problem at OPS.
It's not just juvenile justice. Most of the people in the pen didn't survive in OPS.
I hear you. Earlier in the chat, Brianna Full says, I've heard lots of Black and brown parents say they are against the school vouchers. Marianne Williams says this is an opportunity for schools to make the necessary changes to make people want to stay. People don't have to use the vouchers; they can be accommodated to stay put.
So here's the reality: most people who, even in the legislature, but most people who are against choice have choice. And you can count the number of senators who have sent or are currently sending their kids to private schools.
Wow. And they're the ones voting on this stuff too. That's interesting.
And they're voting against it.
Right.
They're voting basically against others receiving the same options and the same privileges that they receive.
Woo. That's rough. That's deep.
That's par for the course, man.
And people make it like we hate OPS. Like I am a product of OPS. Like I'm wrestling in OPS. Like the kids I help out weekly are from OPS. The kids I mentor are from OPS. I care a lot. That's why I'm saying there are kids in that system that are falling because we just push them through that one system.
Yeah,
it's some kids that can be saved. And that's the fact of the matter. Yes, we want public schools to be better and improve the public school system, but like what happened in the debate a couple years ago, it's going to take how many years did somebody say?
Oh man, he said it's going to take 50 years for OPS to turn around. And I asked him on the mic. I said, so what do I tell the parents in my community right now? And he just sat there like,
50 years.
I don't know. I don't know.
Wow. I'm sitting here right now thinking about the last time we talked about this. We kind of came to the conclusion that really this is about choices. Though having different choices, having different options for kids that aren't making it in certain systems, because everybody learns differently. So to me, when we ever have those kinds of conversations, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. It's a done deal in my brain, but obviously it's not a done deal everywhere else. And part of it has to do with this lack of communication or lack of understanding about where budget money is going. I just talked to a teacher the other day who was like, well, yeah, but they're taking 17 million out of OPS. So I don't know what we're going to do. And this is the OPS teacher that I'm talking to saying that. So I don't think everybody even understands exactly how the money's following the money right. You know what I'm saying? Or really understanding that this not there. These are a couple different pots, a couple different places that you can, and this is really just all about having different choices, the different places to put a kid to be able to thrive where a kid can thrive.
Right.
So think about this though. So if the idea is all the money is together, then 1024 is taking money from OPS.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not what's happening.
Not the case. Not the case. Certain money comes to the state for certain reasons.
But we know if we don't get that money, it's going to a water project. And I know exactly what water project they're trying to move it to. So it ain't all the same buckets, and that's what people got to realize.
We got about 2 minutes left with you guys. I know you got to get on about your day. Let us, while I'm reading off some of these the chats here, think about some of the last words you want to leave us with, last actions to take, where you need bodies, where we need to start encouraging folks to go up and help. Real quick, Von Chapman says equal opportunity is still a problem for those who have always had opportunity.
Yeah.
Since Gene says, well, there you have it. The people who have choice don't want others, especially people of color, to have those same choices. Sounds just like America. Yeah,
only in America.
Our counterparts do not want to reduce the educational gap. Rick Fulton is asking, does Mr. Wayne support McDonald for Omaha mayor?
He ain't even announced that he's running. So
okay. Yeah, have we been talking? We haven't even been talking about
well, that's 3 years away.
Didn't Stothard just get elected?
I mean, 2025. That's 2.5 years away. I ain't even thinking about that. Bree, I didn't see what bill that tax reform is, so give me the number so I can track it to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Speaking of her comment, she says, if all the other tax reform bills that the government is proposing outside of the new school funding formula, OPS will lose $17 million annually. She says if they pass that bill. So
that's probably that's probably in the revenue committee, which I'm not on, nor is Senator McKinney. So that's why just send me that bill number so I can make sure we track it, because if it ain't our committee, we don't really pay attention to it until it gets to the floor.
There you go.
Speaking of bill numbers, LB, I want to get my readers.
I told you.
LB 530. Be on the lookout. LB 477. LB 348. That hand that put your hands on the kid bill. LB 811. And LB 753 is what I got written down here. We'll do the research, figure out what those are, put them in Friends of Sky Omaha to be taking a look at. Which ones are going on today that we need to check out? Is that LB
477 is today. I got like 3 bills today. I got 4 actually. 477, and I got a couple in judiciary, but it's the ones in judiciary aren't really. They're okay.
Okay.
And I got a parole bill next week, LB 631. It adds 2 new people to the parole board.
Man, are they gonna show up?
A formerly incarcerated person and somebody with experience in reentry and restorative justice. It says that they have to show up to meetings.
Thank you.
They have to take cultural competency and implicit bias training. Because I found out that the parole board isn't required to do that, which is crazy. It also says they can't deny parole if the Department of Corrections doesn't provide programming for overcrowding or staffing shortages.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, common sense stuff to me, bro.
So I just want people to understand that there are 2 of us, right? And we just talked about education, economic development, prison reform, parole reform. Like we I guess what I'm saying is we doing our best, but we ain't perfect. But man, like when I say it's just 2 of us, because most people in Omaha, they really don't. Most senators out of Omaha, they don't really want anything. Like their communities is good. They're looking to stop, the
they want lakes,
right,
and some other bills like that. The abortion bill. They're looking to stop those. The dynamic that we're in is we always got to be asking for something, and most senators have never had to negotiate from I don't say a position of weakness, because I always think I'm in some kind of power, but we always are trying to catch up. And so we don't get the luxury of throwing out a whole bunch of tweets and getting on YouTube and saying one-liners, and y'all be like, oh man, Justin Terrell going after him today. No, we don't get to go after him like that, like we used to, because there's consequences to that, and you may not get your vote for Senator McKinney's prison reform.
Right.
So if you don't see us out there like leading the charge, it ain't that we ain't charging. It's just sometimes we got to play this game to make sure we get things done.
That's the politics of it that people kind of don't, appreciate or don't, like. But you're saying it's a necessary thing to actually get the policy that we need across.
And I tell you what, get on Friends of Sky Omaha when we show that legislature session. Watch that for 10 minutes, and you will see that these brothers out here leading the charge and going for it. And it really trips me out every time I see like you guys going for something, and I look at them seeing these votes, and I'm seeing a whole bunch of red dots and then like 2-3 green dots sometimes. I'm like, man, if you don't learn how to go play that game, what I'm saying, you nailed it on the head. One time the moment I understood was when you were on the show a while back, months ago, and you said people don't understand the nuance. Sometimes you gotta deal with another senator who is after something for his neighborhoods. If it don't affect us and don't affect our neighborhoods, go out and give it to him, because then he'll help you out with yours, with something that you need. It just understood, like sometimes you gotta deal with that. You gotta look at everything, not just what you need, but what they need. You got to understand what all the senators are looking at. There's a lot of nuance and a lot of game here that needs to happen in order to get something done in North Omaha. So I just get amazed every time I talk to y'all and just learn more.
Yeah, like Kimmer said, it's chestnut checkers, Jake. Chestnut checkers.
It's real easy to say no and never be at the table. Like this streetcar, I'm adamantly opposed to it. So I could come out and say I'm opposed to it, or I could say, look, if I were to bring some dollars and make this work, could we get a North Omaha line? Now I'm at the table and we're having conversations.
Right.
It's easy to just get up and say no. What's hard is trying to get those nuances, as you said. And so but it'd be stressful. It'd be stressful. McKinney got a bald head because he's losing all his hair being down here.
And you down there with a cold, with a scratchy throat, because you down
Man.
there
Look at all that gray coming in, man. It's rough.
Man.
Appreciate you, brothers. Really, really do. Mama God said, "Trust me, senators. Anybody throwing shade will decline the offer for the job once they realize the time, commitment, and pay."
Man,
you ain't lying. So you're getting a lot of thanks in the chat here. Really appreciate that. If you feel like going back and answer some of the questions here, oh yeah, go ahead, brother McKinney.
No, I was.
You waving at somebody.
Yeah. My bad. So anyway, yeah, just you're getting a lot of thanks here, and like I said, if there's other questions here that you see in the chat that you want to check out and answer, then feel free. We are if you've missed any parts of this show or any parts of this interview, you can always go back and check it out on Facebook page or the YouTube page. Check it out. It's always a wealth of knowledge. I always go back and watch these shows again after we had this conversation and realize how much stuff I was probably thinking of the question while you was talking and missed, and I kind of go back and continue to just continually learn. So I encourage everybody to do that too. Go back and listen to what is being said here, and come to the conclusions that we can, and let us know, man, how else we can help, and how when it's time to support and so on and so forth. Let us know, and our goal here is to really try to be some kind of mouthpiece, be some kind of communication tool, be able to get that out to people that are paying attention to us, so that we can make some kind of a difference. So that's what we're here to do.
Appreciate you.
Hey, McKinney, hit my green light when you get over there and see if they notice that we ain't the same people.
Man, as a dynamic duo, senators, we definitely appreciate y'all.
All right, appreciate y'all.
All right, man. You have a good one. Talk soon.
Yep.
Peace. He said, hit the button to make sure they know we do two different people.
Man.
Let's take a quick break, man, and come right back. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. All Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, the senators Justin Wayne, Terrell McKinney, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners. We'll be right back. Stay tuned, y'all.
Hey, we outside in the chat. What's up, Big X? OG.
Hey, Big X in the chat.
Yeah, talking about good morning, rise and grind. We outside. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. All Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners. Man, I wish we had a We Outside ad to throw up now.
Hey, we can get it. We can get that going.
Gotta get that going, man. That's what's up. Man, legends in the chat right now. That's what I'm talking about. Just want to thank everybody for jumping into the chat and chiming in, and also presenting and posing questions to the senators, trying to get some answers out here. Really, really appreciate them coming on, spending their time, even being late to the unicameral so they can be on the show and have some conversations, man. So appreciate that very much. And it's always a good thing. We'll continue to try to talk to them as much as we can, especially during this legislative season, so that we can stay and let us know, man. I want to know if you guys are feeling like I'm feeling about it. You learning something? You guys understanding some things that, because I definitely am understanding things that I never did before. And the more we talk, the more I'm seeing what's really going on here. So let us know what you're learning about this process, and if it's helped to have the brother senators on, if it's fired you up enough to write some letters or go down to Lincoln and sit in, you know what I'm saying? Mama Costa, hell yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I definitely didn't know a lot of what the process was. So Judy Princess says learning a lot. Thank you. Appreciate that.
It's kind of sobering when you think about how much you don't know about how, you know, society is ran and how these things are decided, how these things come to be. It's very, very sobering. Like, man, how is this done? You know, how do they make this happen? But definitely learning more, definitely appreciating, and, you know, kind of in the process empowering ourselves. Like, okay, this is something we can do. This is something else we can do. Not just voting, but, you know, going down to write and support a bill, learning about the process of a bills, how bills are made, how bills come to be in law, where some of this money is coming from, you know, continue to follow that bag. So yeah, this is definitely, I'm learning from it, and hopefully everyone else out there is as well, on top of, you know, some of the cool stuff that we talk about as well. Speaking of that, Paul, will you have some hip hop history facts for us? You got
Man, I'm kind of looking right now, bro. 50 years of hip hop going down. I actually came across a page that has a little trivia going on. So
okay.
I'm gonna jump to a question and put it out here to the chat real quick. The question is, the album is Dark and Hell is Hot was released by which hip hop group or artist? Juvenile, Run DMC, DMX, Salt and Pepper. Let us know what the answer to that. The album is Dark and Hell is Hot was released by which hip hop group or artists?
So, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but we'll wait on that.
You ain't supposed to be. This is for the chat.
I know. I didn't blurt it out. I'm just saying.
You almost did. I was like, but you better not blurt that out.
Hey, Big X, you don't count. You know.
Hey, bro, look, you can't be a legend of hip hop and answer these questions. You gotta let the common folk answer, bro.
That woman coming in too saying that DMX.
There you go, Miss Erica Fell got it right as well. So yeah, DMX is the one for that. I remember that album too, man. That was legendary joint right there for real.
Is that's not the one with the blood? He had the blood on the yeah. I remember that cover. I remember that cover very, very vividly.
Very vivid, iconic cover. And you know me, man. I feel like 90s is the golden age of hip hop. Everything that happened in the 90s was super significant. So with here. That, Brother Knight came in with the DMX. That's what's up, Brother Knight. Man. Okay. That's what's
man. Up. Hey, man. Rest in peace to Dark Man X, man. Rest in peace to Dark Man X.
Yes, sir.
Legend. And, hey, I got a segue. Brother Stewart is saying wrong cover.
Oh, was it? Is it? Okay, now
that's something. I think the blood one is like flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. I think.
Oh, you might. Yeah, you think you're right. Okay, it's what was it called? Let's see.
Yeah, you have to look into that. But I got a segue from you from one X to another, man. We're gonna jump into Brother Malcolm X, and some of the news that's coming out about his family.
Oh
as my man Paul B looks out for that cover. Yeah, this is big news. This is big news. And we got just about 15 minutes. So it was the wrong cover.
Wrong cover. Yeah, it's just him in red. The whole cover's red, but he's not in blood. That's not the where he's had blood. Like that's different cover.
I figure. But yeah, man, we definitely have just about 15 minutes left in this show, and we got to talk about this before we get out of here. I would say D-Hap of the day, of the week, if you're not familiar, the family. Big shout out to Ilyasah Shabazz and Kobila Shabazz, who are actually in partnership and in relationship with the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation in Omaha. So definitely shout out to them. But they're teamed up with Ben Crump. If you not familiar, Ben Crump is kind of like what'd you call him? He's the
new Johnny Cock, bro.
The new Cochran. Benny Crump again has teamed up with the Shabazz daughters to file a formal lawsuit. Again, the lawsuit against the CIA, FBI, and the NYPD has been issued. They're looking for $100 million in addition to accusing them in the role of killing the late great Malcolm X, aka El Haj Malik El Shabazz. As it is known, 3 men were convicted, but 2 were recently exonerated back in 2021 after a renewed investigation into the case against them showed that evidence used to gain convictions was shaky and that authorities had held back some information. Ilyasah Shabazz, the co-administrator of her father's estate, filed notices of claim, which is the first step in the process of a lawsuit, saying that the agencies all conspired, quote unquote, with each other and with other individuals and acted and failed to act in such a way as to bring about the wrongful death of Malcolm X. For years, our family has fought for the truth to come to light. She says, we want justice served for our father. Emails seeking comment were sent to the CIA, FBI, and the Department of Justice, as well as New York City's legal department. the Department of Justice and NYPD have both declined to comment. But this again is something that has definitely been talked about, who killed Malcolm X. There's of course been speculation, there's been theories, but to once you get something on court, once you get something in court cases, once you get judges deciding on things, it's hard to shake the truth.
That's real.
So this is definitely a case that will eyes will be looking at. But we all know what it is, man. We all know.
Man, they suing everybody. They suing the police department. They suing the city of New York. They suing the FBI, the CIA. They suing everybody. Litigation, like Brother Chapman says, man.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Remember, this is off of the two brothers that got exonerated for the murder. Just recently got millions of dollars in settlement money for being in jail for all them years and for not having committed the assassination. So why wouldn't the family who suffered more than the brothers who was in jail not get compensated? And the main thing, like I said, the main thing is they got to be under oath. These are FBI agents and stuff that's now got to testify under oath and everything else. You said it's going to be on the books now, bro. That they conspired to assassinate him, and it's going to be on the books.
Yeah. I don't know how much is going to change. I mean, like I said, we all know what it is. I think it'll, kind of hammer it home. But I don't know how much it'll change, unfortunately.
Well, it's in the news now, so that's all. The media got a hold of it, which is the first step for me. Brother X Billy Outside show said them folks killed him. It's sad they waited all these years to give the family justice.
Yeah, man.
There's some families out here still looking for justice, man. We were talking to the relatives of Emmett Till when we were back in the Minnesota days, came on the show, and they still looking for. They're like that old the lady who accused Emmett Till of messing with her. They figured out that she lied. She admitted that she lied. It still ain't never been prosecuted. Stuff went on 50, 60, 70 years ago still. And it's been like 60 years since the assassination.
Malcolm?
Yeah. So I mean, some real time has gone by here that they've never gotten any answers. You imagine living your whole life and never really getting any real answers to something like that. And I heard a little bit of her press conference. She was there. They was there. She was 2 years old, 3 years old.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they were like front row.
Front row. She was 3 years old. She said everybody was there, even the twins, because her mom was pregnant with the twins. So literally everybody was there in the front row watching their dad get assassinated.
Man, and also the day to which actually is almost 60 years to the day to when he passed. It was February 21st, 1965. So yeah. And
Brother Knight, you're right. He said maybe it'll help in awareness. I know a lot of people that don't understand that both Malcolm and Martin was assassinated by the government.
That's another one I'm thinking of as far as will the King family ever follow in the footsteps? Will the King family ever strive for the same type of thing?
Good question. Von Chapman says the same should happen for Ernest Jackson and Ed Poindexter. So litigation. We ought to be suing. It's a good question. It's a good question. Yeah, man. Wow. So yeah, this is interesting. I when we saw it, this is we live, for those of you that don't know, I'm sure everybody who's listening knows, Omaha, Nebraska is the birthplace of Malcolm X. There's the Malcolm X Center here on the land that he was born on and grew up in for the first 2 or 3 years of his life.
And it's possible that he was born at that location because again, African Americans weren't able to, go to hospitals like that. So it is quite possible that is the birthplace of Malcolm X.
3448 Evans Street.
Yeah, man.
Right here in Omaha, Nebraska. So this is, and the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation out here does have a relationship with the daughters. And it's interesting that they gave that speech at the Autobahn. So the place that he was murdered at. They got up on that stage, that pedestal, that microphone, and said they're suing everybody right now. So that's what's up.
Yeah, man. We'll see. Also, kind of reiterate and remind the people about what's happening in Nebraska in regards to trying to get Malcolm X the birthday recognized as a holiday in the state. Of course, as Senator Wayne just said, that's an uphill battle. Good luck, especially, with Senator McKinney speaking with a little fire, calling out other races' holidays. But, hopefully we can see some more support, even if it's not a full holiday, something to support Malcolm X and acknowledge the legacy of the late, great El-Haj Malik El-Shabazz, man.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. It is 8:50 right now, about 10 minutes left in the show. If you believe in the concept of time, again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, all of you ghost listeners. Buddy, we got any lightning round items before we get to the haps, or you want to just jump on in?
I do have one last article kind of rounding back around to our education conversation in regards to, again, talking about LB 811, which there is a rally, a press conference in the rally at the Capitol that's going on next week. So we'll talk about that on Tuesday, a little later on in the haps. But in regards to teachers, there is a possible raise. Some good news for teachers. The district's base salary will rise nearly $7,200 over the next 3 years to compensate teachers for the heavy burden of work that they are currently experiencing. And, the burden could get even heavier if some bills like, the requirement to physically restrain students is implemented. Again, this is a significant shift to the salary schedule, according to Molly Davies, who's a chief negotiator for the Omaha Education Association. Again, there was a stipend issued last year. The base salary will increase between $1,000 to $45,000 in the first year. And the staff will also, again, continue receiving that stipend of $4,500 that district officials started last year under federal COVID aid. So more money coming from teachers. Will it improve, results for our students? Will it improve engagement in the class? We'll see. But definitely, good news for our teachers and our educators out there who undoubtedly needed a boost in support. So,
yeah,
man.
We'll see if they get it.
Yeah, that's that. That pretty much does it. Yeah, that pretty much does it for our articles. We did have this article on the Empowerment Network and the work that they're, being recognized for nationally.
We should definitely mention that for sure.
Yeah. Again, the Empowerment Network is making national headlines. ABC News recognized Empowerment Network in the Omaha 360 meetings as a reason or a kind of a contributor to the decline in gun violence in the city over the last couple of years. And, just want to continue talking about the Empowerment Network, what it is, the work that they're doing, and how we feel about, where is gun violence in the city. Definitely you fast or rewind about 10 or 11 years ago, back in 2011, Omaha was, in comparison to Chicago, as far as the amount of murders per capita. I mean, it was one of the most dangerous places. So has that been turned around? How has it been turned around? If it has, definitely a lot more conversation going on with that. So we'll, mention it, but we'll round back around in later episodes to talk more in depth.
Let's do that. A lot of people hit me with that on the DM, and then also on Friends for Sky Omaha. So this has been a huge thing. Plus, it's really interesting. I've been talking to Brother Barney this past week on a few different topics. So, and he's agreed to come on to the show. So we'll definitely be talking about that as well. And get into it. I know you guys got a lot to talk about on that one.
Man.
In the meantime, between time, it's 8:53 right now. If you believe in the concept of time for the haps. Let's go ahead and jump into the haps real quick. Since it's a Friday, we got things coming up this weekend, all that good stuff. Let's check it out. Let's go.
What's the haps? What's happening? What's going down?
Ladies and gentlemen, time for the haps. Time for us to talk about a few things that's going on around town that we think you ought to check out. And it's time for you to get your haps together and let us know what we need to be checking out and bigging up on the show as well. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Buddy, you got some haps for the peoples?
Yeah, I did, and then I lost it. Well, where is it at? Yep, there it go. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. I gotta find it. Again, there is a bill or a rally going on Tuesday for LB 811. Again, those who oppose LB 811, which again provides teachers the ability to physically restrain students. Do you want teachers being able to put their hands on your kids? Good question. If not, you have an opportunity to let that be known. That's next Tuesday, the 28th at 1 p.m. at the Nebraska State Capitol building. So again, if you are in Omaha, you will have to take a trip to Lincoln to join this. But it is Tuesday at 1 p.m. at the Capitol building. Oppose LB 811 press conference in Raleigh at the Capitol.
Okay, that's what's up. Appreciate that very much. And again, there's all kinds of stuff going on next week. We try to set everybody up as far as getting bodies down to Lincoln to really kind of back some of these bills. So we'll definitely put more bill information in Friends of First Sky Omaha for you to check out. I'm going to jump to some Benson Theater things. You know that I have a inside track on what's going on in Benson Theater.
Yeah, man.
Monday, February 27th from 11 to 1. Michelle Troxclair is going to be in. There's going to be a conversation with Michelle. This is a free event, DEIA Lunch and Learn. She's going to be talking about a few things. If you have an organization that needs a little bit of DEI training and talk, real talk when it comes to actual diversity and inclusion in your company, especially if you're in a company that needs this, you might want to have them go ahead and register at bensontheater.org and come and check it out. It's free lunch and a free discussion about DEIA, conversation with Michelle, Lunch and Learn. That's happening Monday, February 27th from 11 to 1. We'll put that in Friends of First Sky Omaha, of course. Something else I've been seeing floating around here, man. Black History Dinner coming up. This is going to be hot right here, featuring descendants of the Whitty family. If you guys don't know about who they are, slap yourself. Go look it up.
What's wrong with you?
It's deep. It's deep. Performing a DeWitty settlement reenactment. That's what's up. So there's a Black community in Nebraska that was eradicated at one point, like a lot of Black communities from back in the day got eradicated, but there was one. And the descendants of DeWitty are the representatives now, so they're definitely going to be here. The venue at Highlander, this is happening. You know where that's at, on 30th Street, 2120. Community resource vendor slots available. Youth groups welcome. Highlighting local Black history. Definitely check out the dinner on February 26, 2023. That's 2 days from that. Sunday is coming up.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out. Speaking of Sundays, next Sunday on March the 5th, we got Edom Soul Music that's going to be providing some really sweet sounds while we have a brunch over at Benson's. This is Bench and Brunch. Brunch provided by JoJo's, and you get entertained by Edom Soul Music. You can't beat it. Come on through 10 to 1. Sunday, March 5th. Yeah, man. Yeah, she's one of my favorite voices of all time right there, for real.
Man, forever,
man. So you can definitely check that out. I'll put that in the chat too. I want everybody to come through, man, on that brunch. Let's support her for real. I'm gonna jump back into the chat just real quick because Kimra Snipes is saying oh, okay. She's having a conversation there. I'm looking. I thought she had some haps there. So if you got haps, anything that you think is important that we need to be talking about right now, let us know. We got about 3 minutes left in the show. Put your haps in there, and I really appreciate if you did that so we can talk about it a little bit more. Also, wanted to give a shout out to a mentor of mine. This brother and sister right here been married now 22 years?
I think they said 25 years. They just celebrated their anniversary. It's a couple decades plus.
Brother Walter Brooks, man, who was on the board of the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation for many years, is where we met. Ended up being a great friend and mentor to me, and moved down to North Carolina, I think he's in now, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So definitely want to give a shout out to them. Happy anniversary. It's always good to see folks celebrating that thing. So just want to give a quick shout out to them. Also, I'm seeing this spelling bee happening around. Let's see. This is March 12th. I'm thinking we did not miss that. Spelling Bee Sunday, March 12th from 4 to 8 at the Malcolm X Visitor Center. So this is where we were talking about birthplace of Malcolm X, 3448 Evans Street. Grand prize $500.
Okay, for the babies.
Just for the babies. I was getting ready to go brush up.
You gonna go spell some words?
Brush up. Yes. So this is pretty awesome. They've partnered with a couple people and putting a spelling bee together, and real money here. Second place prize, third place prize, got some zeros on them dollars.
Man.
4 to 8. So I see if you want to enter. I guess you can enter. I don't see any information here on how to. Participants ages 8 to 10. There you go. For more information, call 402-708-3014. We'll put this in Friends of First Sky Omaha. If you got a youngin' who knows who can get the spell on, you might get a little rent money that month or something. Let's see what's up.
Hey, a little rent money.
Also, I want to give a shout out to Paris Hilton that's putting on this event called Hanky Panky, a Funk Review Part 2. This is going to be at the Benson Theater as well, March 11, 2023. I played the first Hanky Panky with them, played some drums with this funk band. It was a lot of fun, bro. And her and her crew are super entertaining, and it's really dope. So
okay.
Yeah, this is a fun time right here. Definitely 21 and over. Go check it out. Go to .org. I'm sorry. Go to Benson Theater. I'm getting my companies mixed up. BensonTheater.com and get your tickets for Hanky Panky, a Funk Review. It's going to be a good time. You want to see a live funk band, horn section and all.
The full thing.
The full thing. Putting it down, and then you got a bunch of performers that are doing kind of a burlesque thing going on. Yeah, it's dope. It's wild. It's wild. It's a funky good time. Definitely check it out. March 11th, 2023. I'll be there. Yours truly. Be back there on the tubs.
Okay.
With the microphone, having a good time, man. Having a funky good time. So come on through March 11th. Go to BensonTheater.org and get the tickets there. You'll get it. I'm gonna get it. And let's see what else did I had. Let me see if this is passed already. Did this pass?
Nope. March 1st.
March 1st. Whew, man, I'm glad I got this in.
Wednesday?
Man, Big Wade and the Black Swan Theory doing big things. Big things. They got a vibe session going on, an open mic on March 1st. I don't really mess with the Jewel too much, but I might have to go to this because if it's an open mic and I get to jump up with Big Wade and the Black Swan Theory, I might have to do that just to do that.
You gonna dust off some of your old head raps?
Have to dust up, man. Sucker MCs. Because I'm too hot to handle, too cold to hold. Hey, it's going down. Let me jump back into the chat real quick. No haps. Yeah, I'll be posting all those on the page, Miss Snipes, over on Friends of Sky Omaha. I'll probably be posting them on the regular Facebook page too, as well. I'm gonna start posting things there too. So yeah, we'll check it out.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, I do have 2 last haps, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to the family, man, at the Culture House. They will be having another art battle coming up. That's March 18th and 19th. Again, it looks like a championship. So I think they will be having like former winners come to do it again and go head to head. If you're not familiar, art battle is they have artists come to the Culture House, do a live painting. You can purchase the art. Of course, there'll be judges judging the art, and at the end of the live painting, there will be a winner, some prizes. It's a dope event. Shout out to the Culture House. Definitely come out support not just the Culture House, but the local artists that'll be doing their thing, man. So again, that's Saturday, March 18th, and Sunday, March 19th. Big shout out to the Culture House right there on the Deuce, if you're not familiar. And also, if you're looking for something to do, man, Cat Williams is coming to town, if that's interesting. March 17th, Friday, March 17th at 9 p.m. Cat Williams will be in town to make you laugh. I've been seeing him more and more. I think he's, gearing up with some new material and things like that. So, yeah, definitely shout out to the comedy legend, Cat Williams, coming to the Omaha area. Again, that's March 17th at 9 p.m.
That's what's up, man. I like what Cat's doing now. He's like getting older and he's like talking about some real stuff. He got a real Dave Chappelle thing he's moving into where it's more commentary, but still funny. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not
actually
just all jokes.
Cat he did an interview and he had a pretty interesting philosophy or a theory about how he reinvents himself and how he lives his life. And he says like every 7 years he looks at it as a different life. And you think about kind of the iterations of Cat Williams, from the early pimping to he's not really on that so much. You know what I mean? It's just a different kind of vibe. So yeah. Definitely shout out to Cat Williams. I'm looking forward to some of his new material.
That's all right. That's what's happening, man. We'll definitely check it out. And just to let people see this, I'm gonna throw this in Friends of Sky Omaha too. That's the art battle talking about the Culture House. March 18th, 6 p.m. 12 artists, 3 rounds, 1 champion. It's going down. So definitely check that out. It's a good time for sure. 9:04 right now, running real late, buddy. You got some words for the people?
Man, of course, big shout out to the Senators for taking the time out of their busy schedule to come speak with us and let us know what's going on in the Capitol. Again, Senator Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne, put some respect on their names. Got to say the whole thing, like a Tribe Called Quest or a pimp named Slipback. Yeah.
Slipback. Speaking of Cat Williams.
Yeah, man. Yeah, speaking of Cat Williams. So big shout out to the Senators as always for taking the time every Friday. Of course, big shout out to all of you, the chat chimers, for letting your minds be free and more importantly, letting your voices be heard. Again, not just the Senators, but there are plenty of politicians, decision makers, and stakeholders that are listening to what you have to say. So definitely continue to have your mind be free, let your thoughts be heard, and voice your opinions because they matter and they are being heard. So we appreciate y'all for embarking on this experience with us. And without further ado, Paul B, take it away, man.
That's what's up. Wanda Lewis says, I was a ghost listener today. Sometimes it pays to listen. It was definitely insightful. I learned some things. Great show. Thank you very much, Wanda Lewis. And we always appreciate your feedback as well. Miss Erica Fell says, love listening and learning from the Senators this morning. Wishing everyone a safe, regenerating weekend. Drink your water, direct each dollar, and be good to yourselves. Yeah, and man. I'm going to throw stay warm on top of that because it's cold outside. Leg says, as always, incredible show. Thanks for all you do. Thank you very much. Couldn't do it without you. Appreciate that very much. Stuart Brother Knight said this bar was old school. Which bar were we talking about?
Anything talking about your old head raps.
Oh, man, yeah. Old bars. We didn't call it bars back in the day. That was called raps.
Just raps.
Pop says, thank you guys for this awesome show. It's always informational and inspiring. Please have a great weekend and love to you and the entire First Sky fam. Appreciate you, Pops. Thank you very much, the Omaha tribe elders, for allowing us to be on this land in the first place and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. Shout out to you, the chat chimers, for allowing us to speak with you. Shout out to all the people who are reoccurring sponsors of the channel as well. $10 a month, $25 a month, $50 a month people. Really, really appreciate all of your efforts to help us keep rolling. If you're so inclined, please go to firstsky.omaha.com, hit the donate button so we can keep this rolling. So really appreciate it. Marianne Williams says, great show, guys. Thank you. Have a great weekend. You guys have a great weekend too. Take care of yourselves. Stay warm. We will see you Monday morning, bright and early. Hopefully the weather will be better and we'll have gotten some sleep. We'll see. It's always up in the air, but we'll see.
Man,
but anyway,
tired, boss.
Boss would be tired, but we doing it anyways. What's up? All right, you guys have a good one. We'll see you Monday.
Peace.
By the way, Vanglorious. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any means